I'm back for my last Better Call Saul Season 6 bingo update. Before the season started in April, I made a bingo sheet with 25 predictions for things that I thought might happen in this season of Better Call Saul. After the first half of the season, I did a little update, a little check-in to see how I was doing, and now I will see my final score. To give it away up front, I did get a bingo. I won. I probably wouldn't be making this video if I didn't win, because it would be too embarrassing, but I did in fact get a bingo. I got 5 in a row. I'm over-explaining what bingo is. I will go through it and kind of talk about each one, but for the ones that happened in the first half of the season, I'll just kind of brush over them. I won't do a lot of reactions. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about the things that happened in the latter half of the season. I'm wearing a Kim Wexler-inspired look today, complete with a ponytail that's almost curled, not because I tried to, but my hair just kind of does that a little bit. Pretend it's curled. I am brunette, which now Kim Wexler is too, so I planned that, yeah. This shirt, I swear she wore a shirt that was very, very similar to this. I want to say in season 3 when she had her broken arm. And then a quick plant update. My plants have grown. My neon pothos is to the top of the trellis now. My philodendron lost a bunch of leaves because she's a little bitch, but she's still growing, got a couple new leaves coming out. I'll do a side-by-side comparison with the first one and then the second one, and yeah, I'll do that. Yay, plants! Okay, so I get off to kind of a rough start here, which is also why I told you that I did get a bingo, because I swear I am like all misses at the beginning, so just don't make fun of me. It's hard to predict these things. Okay, so number 1, Kim goes to jail. No, she did not go to jail. I want to say in my defense, I would say there were like 3 major theories people would say about Kim, and they were that she's going to die, that she's going to do like the vacuum disappearance thing, or that she's going to go to jail and like turn herself in and go to jail. Of the 3, that last one seemed the most likely to me, but as we got a little further into the season, I was thinking, I don't think it's going to be any. I think she's just going to leave. I liked what they did. I liked that she just left and she kind of was in this self-punishing purgatory for a while, which felt very true to her character, but very sad as well. So it was nice to see her then kind of break out of that at the very end and start to go back to the law and try to help people again and kind of live her life with some purpose and meaning. She did, confess, so I don't think I was completely on the wrong track with the going to jail. There just wasn't any evidence, so it was obviously very unlikely it would escalate to that point, but the kind of spirit maybe was still there. Another bingo scene. I put this on here because it's a bingo card, and I thought, whatever, it didn't happen. It was a long shot, maybe. Nacho triple agent. All of my Nacho predictions are so bad. They're all terrible predictions. Gus mistakenly informs Hector of Lalo's death. This was such a specific one. It was based on something in the first trailer and obviously was incorrect. He really did not believe for very long or at all that Lalo was dead. Jimmy and Kim stay married. This one to me was the most shocking one that I missed. I really, really thought up until he was holding the divorce papers that they would just stay married even though they were estranged. I mean, I understand why they broke up, but I thought they needed spousal privilege, and this was the exact scenario. Wasn't this the scenario that they were preparing for? And I know it was never actually about the spousal privilege. I loved the scene where they signed the divorce papers. It was a great scene, so I can't even fault them for it, but I was very, very surprised that they didn't stay married. I would have put a lot of money on that one, and it wasn't right. So, whoops. Gus Chili backstory did not come to pass, no. The cartel is homophobic to Gus. It feels mean-spirited of me now to have put this on my card, considering instead of just having someone make a homophobic joke about Gus, they instead gave him a 9-minute long scene haltingly flirting with a guy that he has some kind of history with and some kind of attachment to in a wine bar, and then realizing that like he can never have true like intimacy again because of like the life that he's made for himself, and deciding to just like close himself off to that. So the fact they gave him that really beautiful scene, and I feel bad about putting this on my bingo card now. I underestimated them. I would have rather had that scene than Lalo just like saying something about his like noviocito, you know. I think that Gus was able to turn the tables by being homophobic to Lalo, and that was what allowed him to kill Lalo. That like broke the curse. But that's just a theory, a film theory. Okay, shirtless Lalo scene. Yes, I talked about it a little bit in my last one, but yeah, thank you Thomas Schnauz, King of the Lalo Girls. Another Salamanca? No, dumb theory. Boo, Bill Burr. Of all the random cameos I could have put on this, which it was a very random cameo, this was stupid. Like I thought of all the characters that were kind of in Saul's orbit, it would have been fairly smooth to bring him in for like basically anything, any kind of little scam they were running. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. They would have like plenty of opportunities to kind of loop him in. But no. They mentioned Kubi once or twice, but that was about it. So, nope. Post Breaking Bad Kim and Jimmy scene. Yes, this one I would have put a lot of money on, and I was 100% right. It wasn't really much of a long shot, but I was still glad to see it come true. They had several scenes together, and they were all like heart-wrenchingly gorgeous, and I cried last night at the finale. I can do a single tear sometimes, but when I get to the that's like when you know it's real. I was not doing the elegant single tear at Better Call Saul. I was a little bit ugly crying. Revenge of the Kettlemans. Yep. Episode 2 of the season. They came, they tried to get some revenge, they failed. It counts. Free space. Lalo dies. He did indeed die. And, you know, I really liked his death. You know, I knew he was going to die. I did not anticipate that he would die in that episode. But, you know, as the episode went on, when he went to the super lab, I was like, oh no, this is it. So I will say my experience of watching that episode the first time was completely in like the denial/bargaining stage of he can still get out of it. We can still get a couple more episodes with Lalo before he dies. But looking at the season as a whole, I think it made sense. I don't think it was an anticlimactic end. I think the reason why it felt that way to a lot of people was because they split the season in half, and that was never the plan originally. My experience of that was affected by the fact that the season was split, even though I knew it wasn't supposed to be. Like, it wasn't written as a 2-part season. The momentum was really supposed to build up through episode 8 and then kind of drop off. And looking at the season that way as a whole, I think it's really well done, and like the pacing, like I think the pacing is really good. Honestly, I know a lot of people didn't like the pacing this season, but I thought it was actually quite good. Splitting the season really, I think, hurt the perception among fans, but I can kind of look at it in retrospect now and see that it made sense for Lalo to die there. And then when I watched the episode again, knowing he was going to die, I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was such a great like send-off to this character who I love so much. He got to torment Kim and Jimmy in their apartment. He got to gleefully monologue in Spanish for 10 minutes and kick Gus down the stairs. I thought it was great. And of course the final ghoulish grin with blood pouring out of his mouth and neck. Amazing. Loved it. Even the first time I watched it, when he started laughing, I threw my arms up in the air and went, yeah! Even though I love him, I want to see him, like, coughing up blood. I don't know what it was about Lalo. Maybe it is just because he's really sexy. Like, I can try to justify it. I can try and say, like, well, he's really complex, but he is truly one of my, like, favorite characters of I don't even know, of all time, like, top 10. I really like Lalo. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about Lalo. Okay, Moving on. The Salamancas find out that Nacho tried to kill Hector. Yep, happened when Nacho died in episode 3. Loved it. Gene goes back to Albuquerque. Yes, he did. Jimmy was extradited. He did not freely choose to go back, but totally made sense that he ended up there to kind of answer for his crimes, own up to them. And I'll kind of tack this on here. It wasn't until I had already made the bingo card, but I read theories that this show would end with Jimmy in jail, but that it would be sort of like almost like a bittersweet thing because he's like going to be the most popular guy in jail. From the first time I read that, I was like, I love that idea. I think that makes so much sense. Of course he would be popular in prison. It's like his clientele, basically. It's the people that he's spent so long building up this goodwill with. At first, you can tell he's trying to leave like the Saul Goodman thing behind, but it seemed like later on people were calling him Saul, and you could argue like whether he just decided to stop fighting it. But I would like to think that maybe he was able to kind of inhabit maybe a more unified like identity where Saul Goodman isn't this mask to cover up pain. A part of him that has real strengths and brings joy, maybe. Is that cheesy? I don't know. I would like to interpret it that way, that he was able to maybe be okay with people kind of knowing him as Saul in prison, and that being like identified as Saul isn't like part of some eternal punishment for him. I think I would like it more if he was like, all right, yeah, sure. And I'll do little, legal consultations with people here and give them advice. Howard dies. He sure did. He sure did die. Jimmy is Kim's lawyer. That kind of went with the Kim goes to jail idea, I guess, in my mind. Did not come to pass. Chuck flashback. I was completely ready to write this off, even, at the beginning of the second half of the season, honestly. I was like, we're not going to see a Chuck flashback. So I was beyond shocked to see a Chuck flashback in the final episode. And it was, oh my god, it was beautiful. It was really good. Why am I starting to cry? It was really good to like bring that back and to tie it into, obviously like the time travel theme. He had that book on there that had prompted Jimmy to ask that question that kept recurring throughout the episode with Mike and with Walt. What would you do with a time machine? And talking about regrets, and Chuck, one of Jimmy's largest regrets, I think very clearly. The shot with the exit sign in the courtroom as a callback to the shot in Chicanery. The show is so like self-referential, which makes sense. I mean, it's a prequel series. It kind of makes sense that it's going to get caught in these cycles where it wants to refer back to itself kind of over and over again. But I like it because I pay a lot of attention to the show, so I can immediately kind of clock those things like, no, the exit sign, just like Chuck. Yeah, I think it's definitely a rewarding show in that sense. Lalo body double to fake his death. This was early on, but yes, I got that. Jimmy buys the nail salon. This was kind of a screwball one. I thought we were going to see more like money laundering or more of like the steps that he took to kind of build the criminal like enterprise of Saul, which we didn't really see that, and that's fine. But that was kind of my guess for how he might get started money laundering, but not the case. Nacho and Dad go to Canada. How naive can I be? I didn't even think this was going to happen when I put it on here, but, sometimes you have to hope. Nacho kills Lalo. This was such a goofy one in retrospect, but you can see I put a little heart by it, so I wanted it to happen. Kim doesn't die. Yes, absolutely. If I had made like a betting pool, I would have put big money on that. Lalo dies. The post-Breaking Bad Kim and Jimmy scene, and probably Jimmy and Kim stay married. And I would have come out okay. I would have done all right if I had put big money on those four. But yeah, this was one of my big money items. I was completely convinced that she would not die. And I was right. So congrats to me. I really wasn't worried for like a second that she would die. And then once they started killing literally all the other characters, it's like, well, there's no way. So yeah, good instincts on my part. Nacho doesn't die. Bad instincts on my part. Really bad. That was like a 50-50. I wouldn't have put big money on that one. That's all, folks. That's all, folks. That's it. That's all I have for my bingo card. I'm just really glad that I actually got a bingo, and overall I got 11 out of 25, which is like fairly close to half. So honestly, that's pretty good. I'm proud of myself. I went out on a limb. Some of it paid off, some of it did not. That's fine. What a good season. I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm kind of excited to watch it again, like this season, but also probably the whole show because I'm crazy. No, the finger guns are so sad now. Oh.